According to the Global Slavery Index, 35.8 million people, including men, women, and children around the world, are trapped in modern-day slavery. While awareness of human trafficking is growing, trafficked-in persons is a very prevalent issue in regards to human rights. Today, I would like to look at the fact that human trafficking is on the rise, as well as some reasons why it exists and some possible solutions to better combat the terrifying reality of human trafficking in modern-day slavery. You may ask the question, I thought we were a free country. Why are we discussing slavery? Because modern-day slavery is a reality hiding in the shadows of our world today. Something needs to be done. But first, we need to discuss what the real issue is. The problem is that the number of human trafficking victims is on the rise. You may ask, what is human trafficking? According to the Trafficked-in Persons Report of June 2014, human trafficking and the term trafficked-in persons refer to the acts of recruiting, harboring, transporting, providing, or obtaining a person for compelled labor or commercial sex acts through the use of force, fraud, or coercion. It does not mean that the person has been moved from one location to another. Some human trafficking indicators might be deceptive recruitment, restricted freedom of movement, retention of identity documents by employers, withholding wages, debt bondage, abusive working and living environments, forced overtime, isolation, and violence, according to the U.S. Department of State report. Some statistics that might surprise you. Human trafficking is the third largest and fastest growing crime because of the high profit and the low risk, according to Bradley Myers, the deputy director of the Polaris Project, who was quoted in the Huffington Post. The Global Slavery Index estimates that there's 60,100 people just in the United States today that is in slavery. The global criminal industry is estimated to be worth $150.2 billion annually, according to the U.S. Department of State report. So you may ask, what does human trafficking look like? Well, there's areas such as domestic servitude, forced labor, child labor, sex trafficking, and bonded labor that are all areas that human trafficking can take place. So, what's the cause of all of this? The cause is that federal and corporate supply chains are demanding it. Human trafficking victims have been identified in areas such as domestic work and home health care, food service, construction and agriculture, nursing, factories and garment manufacturing, janitorial services, beauty salons, and traveling sales crews. Do any of these jobs sound familiar to you? There are some big red flags when it comes to looking at the cause of human trafficking. The first one would be low, semi, and unskilled jobs that no one else is willing to do. The trafficking of documented and undocumented immigrants for low, semi, and unskilled jobs is a big part and a red flag of human trafficking today. According to the Global Slavery Index, 31% of undocumented Spanish-speaking migrant workers in San Diego have been trafficked. Another red flag would be labor recruiters. Industrial labor recruiters that are hired on to recruit, hire, and or manage the workforce are at a high risk of human trafficking within their corporation. So, what do we need to do about this? How do we need to respond to this? The solution that I would encourage would be to strengthen protection against trafficking in persons. According to the Global Slavery Index, businesses can look at doing a better job at preventing human trafficking in their workplace by identifying high-risk products that they sell in their and use in their supply chains, and by joining in industrial groups to streamline policy approaches with industry strategies to be able to eliminate the human trafficking difficulties in their supply chains and the evidence of them there. Another area that we can see change in prevention and the strengthening of prevention of human trafficking is the government. By rectifying laws that omit classes of workers from labor law protection, labor enforcement where trafficking has been found, and implementing measures that address significant vulnerabilities such as birth registrations and identifications, and finding the weaknesses in their systems to eliminate the human trafficking victims. Another area that we can strengthen is partnerships between law enforcement, government, non-government organizations to collaborate, coordinate, and communicate more effectively all together to be able to fight human trafficking in our world today. According to the Global Slavery Index, another way that we can try to protect and eliminate human trafficking today would be to require screening of children entering the child welfare system for indicators of trafficking, as well as increasing funding for protective services for victims of modern-day slavery. In conclusion, slavery is a scary reality in our world today, and the only people that can change that is us. As I draw to a close, I would like to reiterate 3 things. Firstly, is that modern-day slavery affects each and every one of us personally. Second, people like you and me are being beaten and forced to work unfairly in our world today. And third, as people and members of society, we have a responsibility to stand up and do something about this. There are 2 choices given to us today. We can take the facts, statistics, and stories of human trafficking and put it on the back shelf because the topic doesn't affect my personal life anyway. Or we can realize that modern-day slavery is a part of our world that affects my life in a personal way because there is someone out there serving and working unjustly, and it needs to be stopped. In the end, it is up to us to make the right choice and to fight for freedom.